Welcome back to the channel, and in this video this is a continuation of the valve assembly that we've created. So we already started with doing I would like to call the actual valve here. So we've done this one already. That was on part 1 of this video. What we're going to do here in this video is we're going to construct, I'm guessing, 3 more parts, right? So we'll be able to do this one. That should take us, not long at all. And then we'll go ahead and knock this one out as well. Okay, so we're going to knock out these 2 in the video, and we also have one more. Let's see if I can get that one to show up here. And that's going to be on the next page. Give me 1 second. And then we're going to do this one here, which is going to be the spring. So we're going to knock out those 3 in this video. And then our 3rd video is going to deal specifically with the body nut. And what I'm thinking then on the 4th video, we should be able to cover the assembly and the actual drawing, since these are going to be some really simple pieces. Okay, so just to reiterate that we're going to be knocking out 3 parts in this video. And let's go ahead and get started here in Solidworks. Alright, so in the last video you saw me create this one, so the first thing that we might want to do is go ahead and save this. Alright, so I'm just going to hit the save icon here at the top, and then I'm going to call this valve. Alright, just make sure you name it something that you're going to remember, or keep these in somewhat kind of name order. Alright, so I'll go ahead and hit save on that one. And remember, this one is probably going to be the most difficult piece to draw out of all of the stuff that we created so far. Alright, so next I want to go ahead and hit the new icon here. We're going to create a new part. We'll just go ahead and hit OK. And then we'll go ahead and start going with part number 2, which is this washer that we're going to create. Alright, so this one should be super simple. It's going to be a revolve. We're going to go ahead and do this one on the front plane. I'll go ahead and start with a center line. I'll just draw a straight line going straight up and down with a center line here. Let's escape from here. Go ahead and select here. Hold down the shift button and select here. And hopefully I can grab those relations. And then we'll go ahead and put a dimension on this object here, which happens to be 12. Alright, so we got all of our parts done here. Well, so far. I'm kind of jumping the gun here. Let's go ahead and create a 2-point or a corner rectangle here. So I'll just go ahead and create it there. Let's go ahead and stretch this out just a hair bigger so we can see it. I'm going to go ahead and make this line and this point. And so I want to make sure I lock them together here. So I'm just going to make them not a midpoint, not a coincidence. Well, coincidence should work. And then let's do the top one here. So let's select that line and then select that point. And we should be able to get away with another coincidence. Perfect. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and put in some diameter dimensions here. So the diameter from here to here. Now remember that it's giving me a radius here, but if I come just to the outside of this, it will kick me to a diameter. Place it there. This is going to be set to 45. Alright, and then we need to select the inside here, so let's go ahead and do that diameter. And it's going to be a diameter here, which is going to be set to 20. Alright, we're going to put a chamfer here on the corner, or we can do it with the actual chamfer command. Either way it go, it's kind of up to you at this point, but I'll do it with the chamfer command since we don't have to add it inside of the sketch. Or if it changes, it'll be a lot easier to change. Let's go ahead and exit out of the sketch. Now it should kick us over to the revolve command. Just kind of back out just a hair. Everything looks good here. I'll go ahead and select, and then I'll go and I will find the chamfer, right? So let's go to chamfer. Once the dialog box here appears in the corner, it's going to be at 3. So we're going to select this one here. The distance is going to be 3. And then we should be able to select that edge. Everything should look good there. And you know, we're on a kind of like no preview. If I give it a partial preview, you will be able to see a little bit of what's happening. Go ahead and hit the check. All right, and this part is actually done now. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this one. This is going to be called my washer. Okay, so I'm just making sure I keep all of these somewhat named something simple that we should be able to create. Okay, so for our next piece here, let's go ahead and create the actual, I guess we could call it like the valve rod. I should have named the first part valve body, but this is going to be the actual rod. So let's go ahead and hit the new button here again. We're going to go with a part. We'll go here. I'm going to start this one off with a midpoint line, right? So let's go to revolve. Let's go ahead and put it on the front plane. Use a midpoint line. Just select here. And make it go here. All right. Let's give it a distance. So I'll select this line here. It has an overall distance of, we got 115. All right. So there's my kind of beginning shape here. You can see that this line is just a regular line. You know, it would be nice if I can make it a construction line, right? Well, not really a construction line. A center line is what I meant to say. But let's see if we make it a construction line and see if that gives us any advantages. Let's go ahead and sketch the rest of this out. So we're just going to go from here. Going this direction, we'll go up at an angle, go up this way, come back in here. We'll come up to here. And then we'll end it at that endpoint. Okay. So from here, I'll go ahead and put some more dimensions on. We know that the overall length of this line here is set to 3. I said 3, 100. And I was just kind of looking ahead that this number here is set to 3. Now you see this kind of went a little cattywampus on us. Let's go ahead and grab this and kind of stretch it right underneath it. And then I'll go ahead and put that dimension of 3. All right, we have a couple of more dimensions that we need to place on here. Let's do a dimension from here to here. And now you can see that it does give me that benefit of saying, just because I made it a construction line, it says, hey, it's a diameter line, but you can use it as a radius line as well. So let's go ahead and make it a diameter. I'll click here and tell it that the diameter is going to be set to 12. Just kind of look down here at the bottom portion. We're just going to go ahead and select this line here. This is going to be set to 38. And then we need one more dimension here. Let's go ahead and place a dimension from this line and this line. And this should give me an angle, which it does. Now, just because I put the angle on the inside, I have to determine what that degrees is. And in our case, it's going to be set to 135 because that's what creates a 45 degree on the inside. So it's 45 on the outside, 135 on the inside. Okay. So far, I have almost everything that I need to create this. Now, the reason why it's not giving me a shadow here or telling me that it's fully constrained, if I select a line from here. Oh, I thought I was doing a dimension there. If I do a line going from this endpoint up to that point, you'll see that it will shade that in for me. Okay? So let's go ahead and exit out of this sketch. Now SolidWorks should be able to find everything that it needs to create the revolve, which it does. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and accept that. And then we're going to save this one. So let's go ahead and do a save on it. Now you can name it whatever you want here. I'm just going to call it a valve. Let's call it a rod. This is actually the valve, but we're going to call it the valve rod. Let's go ahead and hit save here. And then we have one more piece that we're going to construct here, right? So we're going to go ahead and knock out the spring. So let's jump up here to the new again. We're going to go ahead and select the part and we'll hit OK. Alright, so now I have to determine how I want to create this spring. Before, I usually like to kind of put it right there at the bottom or in the middle just to take advantage of this, certain characteristics of this spring, but I'm not going to really do it on this one. Now this one I will not start with something that I know, right? We're going to eventually create some kind of sweep or revolve or some of that nature. Well, I should say a sweep. So I have to go back to the regular sketch here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a circle, right? So let's go ahead and start off with a sketch. I'm going to place it on the top plane. Then I'll go ahead and, let's see, do a circle. We'll go from this center. It looks like it didn't select the center for me. Let's go. Come on. There we go. All right. Now this circle has a diameter of 38. Let's go ahead and select this circle, hit the diameter, and let's go ahead and call it 38. All right, so from this point, let's go ahead and finish the sketch. Okay, so once we're done with this, let's go ahead and switch over to the Features tab. And then underneath the Features tab, we're going to go to Curves. And then we'll find the Helix and Spiral. Okay, now mine is asking me to go ahead and select the sketch. So I'm just going to select this circle. And I'm just going to back out of this and kind of rotate this sideways just so you kind of see the actual helix that is happening. All right, so now I have to put in some information I know. So I do know the pitch and I do know the height of this. So therefore, I'm going to select it here. And then the height of this is going to be at my 56. And the pitch of this is going to be set to 12. Now all of these numbers I got directly off of the drawing here. And also I have to know where it starts from, right? Let's go ahead and take a look back at this on the top view. You can see where it's telling me where do I want to start this at. So if I place this at 0, which is always a good place where you want to start your helix at. You want to know a known point of where you're going to start it, because when I create my other feature for the sketch, it's going to be really paramount that I know exactly where my helix is starting from. So once I have that, let's go ahead and hit the check mark here. And now you see that we do have a helix here. All right, now I want to go ahead and create another sketch. I'm going to go back to the sketch icon here. We'll click on the word sketch. I'm going to expand this one, and then we're going to find the plane that's associated with it, which will be the right side plane. Now I can see exactly where my sketch starts from. Let's see if we go ahead and place a circle here. And this circle should have a diameter of 3. Okay, so we can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and place a circle. Let's do the diameter. Let's make it 3. All right, and then we're going to add a couple of more little things here. Let's see if we can convert an entity. So I'll go to convert entity, and I just want to grab just that point there. Because what I want to happen is that this object and this object, and remember I'm holding down the shift button there, I want those to touch, but I don't see that relationship happening, so I'm going to have to go at it a different way. So let's go ahead and select here to here. And we know that those are horizontal to each other. This number here needs to go out to here, and it needs to be set at that 38, but I need the edge of this to touch. So I want to kind of get a little creative here. I'll draw a line going this direction. And I'll kind of zoom in just to show you what I'm doing here. I'll select that point, and then this circle, and once again I am holding down the shift button here. I'm just going to make it a coincidence. I'll back out of it, And then I'll go ahead and put a dimension going right across, sitting at 38. And now that I think about it, 38 is the diameter. So Solidworks is correct on that. Let's go ahead and divide that number by 2. Okay. So it should be able to handle that with no problem. So 19 is what I need. Let's go ahead and select this line here. And we're going to make it a construction line, right? We're just going to make it geometry. All right, so now we have our shape that we need to create. Let's go ahead and finish this. We're going to go ahead and go to the Features tab, and then we're going to go with a sweep. Okay, so remember 2 things that I need for a sweep. I need a profile and I need a path. It picked the profile for me. Now it's asking me for the path. I'm just going to select my helix here, and it should follow that around like so. And then we're going to go ahead and accept that. All right, now there's one more thing that I'm going to do, is that I'll go ahead and put a extended cut sketch here. And then we're going to start off by doing it right here on the right plane again. I'm just going to go ahead and sketch 2 rectangles out. Go ahead and place this one at that end point. Now the rest of this is just going to be me doing nothing more than putting relations on here. But the purpose of what I'm doing is that I'm trying to make more or less 2 flats that are just kind of in line with each other, and I like the flats to be on the top of this. It's going to really help me out when I get to the assembly portion. I just want to make these collinear, and I'm kind of curious to why the collinear relationship is not coming up. Oh, there it is now. Okay, and we're going to do some equal stuff. And let's see, let's do one more equal stuff here. Okay, and then we're going to put a dimension from here to here. Let's call it 56. There we go. So I just want to cut this off flat at the top and the bottom. All right, let's go ahead and finish this sketch. It should automatically be able to pick at least one of those profiles. Okay, great. It picked both of them. That one is going through all. Let's go ahead and give it a second direction as well, going through all. And then once I hit the check here, it should kind of shave right off the top of these 2, which it perfectly did. All right. All right, I think everything else on this one is done. Let's go ahead and call this one a spring. Let's take a look at this in an isometric view and give it a save. And this will be called our spring. All right, perfect. All right, so we were able to get through 3 of those parts. Make sure you have everything saved. We have one more part to create, and then we'll get on to the actual assembly and doing a drawing of this, right? So thank you for tuning in for part 2. Hopefully you stick around for part 3, as it will have some little bit more neater stuff in it, especially if you like seeing actual threads cut into something as opposed to being a symbolic. So that's something that you're going to have to look forward to here in the next video. So thank you for watching. As always, keep drafting, and I'll see you in the next video.